Alrighty. Welcome back to another Davis Weather live stream. We were not planning on going live this early today, but we actually do have a very significant situation ongoing in Wisconsin. We have a strong to potentially violent tornado that just hit the town of Dodgeville, Wisconsin, and this is going to be moving up towards Arena and Highway 14 east of Spring Green. If you are in this tornado warning, you need to run, do not walk to your safe spot. This is an intense to violent tornado ongoing as it passes off to the northeast of Dodgeville. Again, this is approaching Arena. This is a large and potentially destructive tornado on the ground now, and it is showing no signs of stopping. It's in a semi-discrete environment. It's going to keep pushing northeast. It's got a lot of instability to work with, and there's not a whole lot overall that's going to stop this thing in the near future. So everybody in this tornado warning polygon needs to be seeking shelter immediately. Again, this looks like it could go very close or right towards the town of Arena, Wisconsin. And again, this just hit the town of Dodgeville. So if you know anybody in Dodgeville, you need to make sure that you are giving them a call or text, make sure that they're doing okay. Again, there's your report of the tornado. This is a public confirmed tornado via emergency manager. Again, it was at the very least on the ground on the northeast side of Dodgeville near the Highway 12 area. So again, very evident debris signature there on the correlation coefficient. So this tornado did unfortunately hit something. And again, that's not, a super large debris signature, but we have to keep in mind that we are out here in an open field pretty much at this point. So the fact that anything's getting picked up at all is kind of concerning. It looks like it may have hit a couple of structures out here just north of Dodgeville, just south of Pleasant Ridge. And again, this is going to be approaching Hyde and Arena. Again, this is a strong to intense tornado on the ground, lofting debris potentially thousands of feet up into the atmosphere that is showing very little signs of stopping. Again, if you are out here in Arena, Wisconsin, we need to make sure that you are seeking shelter immediately. Again, we were not expecting something like this to go down this early. The storm mode actually appeared to pop up quite a bit earlier than what we were expecting in general. We were expecting something like this to be occurring at 2 or 3 p.m., but it's 12:30, and here we are. So, again, very significant situation right now ongoing in Wisconsin. And if you're out here in this area, you got to make sure that you are seeking shelter immediately. There are storm chaser photos and videos of this tornado coming out now. Again, this is a large and destructive tornado. If you are out here in this area, you have to run, do not walk to your safe spot. A new tornado warning was just issued that's going to be going out for areas north of Monroe, Wisconsin. This is for a completely separate supercell, broadly rotating as this approaches Monticello. If you're out here in this area, make sure you are seeking shelter immediately. Again, this supercell is not actively producing a tornado, but it has the potential to change over the next several minutes. Again, if you know anybody out here in Wisconsin, you need to make sure that you are seeking shelter immediately in this area just north of Dodgeville. Again, approaching Arena. Again, large debris signature there, very evident on the correlation coefficient. This is a strong and potentially intense tornado on the ground as this moves up towards Arena. Again, this is a potentially life-threatening situation for the town of Arena. I wish they would go ahead and throw out a PDS tornado warning for this. For whatever reason, they're not doing it, so we're just going to have to trust the National Weather Service on this one. But again, this is a very strong tornado, and again, I think that's pretty evident now as we see that large debris signature there as this moves off to the northeast of Dodgeville. And again, this is going to be approaching Arena. Again, the copious amounts of wind shear out here are definitely feeding this thing pretty well. I mean, it's definitely not hungry by any means, so we're going to continue to watch this move off to the east-northeast. This just impacted the community of Pleasant Ridge, and now it's heading up towards Hyde and Arena. Arena looks to be the next real town out in the track of this, and it looks like this tornado could potentially go directly for Arena, Wisconsin. Again, very evident debris signature there on the correlation coefficient, which means that this is lofting debris hundreds, if not thousands of feet up into the atmosphere. If you're out here in this area, you've got to seek shelter immediately. Again, still a very clear velocity couple. Again, there are photos and videos of this tornado here. This is a large and potentially destructive tornado on the ground. Again, multiple chasers have this thing. This is a large tornado. Again, potentially a destructive tornado on the ground here. Again, looks to be a wedge, quite a ways away though, is Storm Chaser Jack Kelly, where we're actually seeing that video, so it's kind of hard to tell. But either way, very large tornado on the ground without a doubt. And again, if you're out here in this area, you got to be seeking shelter, guys. So again, this catastrophic tornado is going to continue to move off to the east-northeast. Again, large debris signature evident on correlation coefficient, despite this not being in any areas with any substantive population, which is not a good sign. Again, that means that this is likely hitting anything and everything in its path. And again, I don't see a lot that would stop this in the very near future. I mean, again, we've got no cell mergers out here or anything like this that are going to slow this thing down by any means. I mean, this is, again, a very strong tornado ongoing, quite obviously, as this approaches the town of Arena, Wisconsin, sorry. Again, we're going to see if they go ahead and issue that PDS tornado warning, but this is very clearly a very large and destructive tornado here, so I'd be kind of shocked if they didn't. Again, this is still obviously on the ground, very evident by the fact that we have a large debris signature over the town of Hyde. And again, this is going to keep moving up towards Arena, Wisconsin. Again, not a lot stopping this thing. Quite a bit of instability out here in this environment, but the main thing that's going to be driving this is your wind shear. If we take a look at the bulk shear at the 0 to 6 level, it's not abysmal like many of our events have had recently, abysmal wind shear. That is not the case this time. We're seeing decent wind shear out here, 30 to 35 knots, although that is in the 0 to 6. Even if we go down to the 0 to 1, you'll notice that it still exists, and it's still quite intense, sitting at about 15 to 30 knots. Again, very intense environment out here with decent wind shear and decent instability, and again, we weren't expecting this impressive of a storm mode, and we weren't expecting it to be this early, but that is exactly what played out, and that is why we're seeing what we're seeing. So, again, if you're out here in this area, make sure you are seeking shelter immediately. Latest velocity scan backed off quite a bit in terms of intensity, but again, we've just got to assume that this is still on the ground. That could be a contaminated radar frame. Again, we never know, so we want you guys to stay in your safe spot immediately. Again, still a very large debris signature as well, so even if this tornado has occluded, there's still obviously quite a bit of debris in the atmosphere, which means that you need to be staying in your safe spot because this could potentially, again, be lofting pieces of homes, trees, whatnot, into the sky, hundreds, if not thousands of feet up into the atmosphere, and throwing them back onto the ground at, 80, 90, 100 miles an hour. That is the dangerous part of a tornado. So, again, you've got to make sure that you are seeking shelter. Again, I would like to believe that Dodgeville missed the direct path of this condensation funnel, but I don't think that that's very likely. This hit something very clearly near Dodgeville, because that is right when our debris signature started to pop up. And that's where the report came from the EM as well. So we'll see what happens. I did, Vincent. That is insane. Again, large tornado on the ground. I would also like to know our area of rotation just southeast of Argyle near Monroe is continuing to tighten up. If you're out here north of Monroe, you got to be seeking shelter. Again, this supercell has the potential to do something very similar to what we're seeing with our storm just north of Dodgeville. Again, new CC scan there. Looking like our debris signature could be dissipating, but that could be indicative of a lot of things. There may just not be too much to pick up out here in this environment. We did actually just get a brand new tornado warning going out for Plain and Lime Ridge in Wisconsin. Let's see, do we know where that's at? That would be... I don't think that's an extension for any of our storms. I think that's a new storm, so we'll see where that pops up at. But Plain and Lime Ridge, Wisconsin. Make sure that you are seeking shelter immediately on the lowest floor of a sturdy building, away from windows and in an interior room. Where's Lime Ridge? So I just got the notification, but the tornado warning has not popped up yet. Oh, never mind. That was just a continuation for our tornado warning. Excuse me. So again, strong area of rotation still approaching Arena, Wisconsin. Again, I mean, it's still decently strong rotation here. Again, still a somewhat evident debris signature. Very clear inflow on the reflectivity still. Would not be shocked if this is still actively producing a tornado. Again, if you are in Arena, Wisconsin, we really need you to get either underground or into a storm shelter, or preferably outside of that. If you don't have those options, get on the lowest floor of a sturdy building, away from windows and in an interior room. And this is now a PDS tornado warning, so they finally upgraded it. This is now a particularly dangerous situation, tornado warning for Arena, Wisconsin. Again, you got to run, not walk to your safe spot if you're out here. This is a intense to potentially destructive tornado. Again, this is a PDS tornado warning that stands for particularly dangerous situation. Seek shelter now. Again, this is a large tornado, no doubt about it. We've seen photos and videos of it. We've had reports. We see the debris being lofted up into the atmosphere. Again, this is a destructive tornado approaching Arena, Wisconsin. You need to run, do not walk to your safe spot. Again, this is a potentially catastrophic situation here for the town of Arena if this stays on the ground and enters the town. Still a very evident debris signature. Unfortunately, it looks like this thing is mostly lofting trees into the atmosphere, but unfortunately, that's not a guarantee. Again, weather spotters continue to confirm this tornado as well, and again, we can see it's on the ground just via that debris signature very clearly. Again, if you're out here in this area, you've got to seek shelter immediately. Yeah, we're not looking for mods right now. Again, we got to kind of focus in here because we got a pretty serious situation, honestly. Again, I really was not expecting to see something like this today, and I definitely was not expecting to see something like this at 12:45 in the afternoon. Again, this is a destructive tornado, though, undoubtedly, approaching the town of Arena, Wisconsin. For anybody that's not aware, we do have a slight risk of severe weather today, going from portions of western Michigan all the way back through far eastern portions of Iowa. This is mainly driven by a significant threat for damaging wind gusts. Now, I will note, the HRRR and the NAM models obviously had very conflicting views on what this event would look like, and it looks like the NAM ended up playing out a little bit better. The HRRR had a linear, non-impressive storm mode, with it mainly being localized to portions of Wisconsin, and although that's what we've seen so far, it is worth noting that we're likely going to see some development of a couple of supercells back down into portions of central Illinois later today, and potentially the development of a QLCS even that far south. You can kind of see some of those thunderstorms already convecting there just west of the Illinois River along I-80 and I-39. Again, this is a decently significant threat for severe weather today is what we're looking at. Again, wind shear is obviously going to be the main lacking feature whenever you get further down to the south. Your bulk shear is really only that impressive up into portions of Wisconsin, which is why that's where our greatest tornado threat exists. Again, we've been watching this event for a few days now, and we were kind of saying that southern Wisconsin would be our hotspot, and that looks to have come to fruition here. Again, NATOcast throwing out a 10% tornado probability for today, even though the SPC actually only has that. Do they have a 5 or? Yeah, okay, they did add a 5%. So, again, that 5% tornado probability going all the way from Green Bay, Wisconsin, back towards Rockford, Illinois. Not surprising. Again, we mentioned yesterday that they would likely add a 5% tour risk. Again, I do think that we would likely end up seeing a couple of issues with storm mode later into the kind of late afternoon and early evening time hours today, and that could potentially limit any tornado threat from prolonging too far off to the east, like towards the Chicago or Milwaukee metro areas. I don't see that being likely, but we'll see what happens. Again, this is a strong tornado southeast of Spring Green, Wisconsin. Yeah, I looked at the 1 a.m. update last night, and that's why I was kind of surprised that we have it now. Again, it makes sense, it does. It's a good 5%, but I was a little surprised that they didn't issue it earlier. Again, the forecasting for this event really didn't change. I guess they just wanted to make sure that it held true up towards today. But again, still a pretty evident debris signature there. Again, this tornado has been on the ground for nearly 20 minutes now. I mean, this is a significant situation. Again, we really need to, again, look out for our folks in Dodgeville. It looks like this tornado did, unfortunately, directly impact the northeast side of Dodgeville. I know it looks like the debris signature didn't pop up until it already passed Dodgeville, but a lot of times in situations like this, where you have these kind of, like, weird embedded hook echoes that are really HP, sometimes your debris signature doesn't appear in general, so it's kind of surprising that we're seeing one at all. But I mean, again, it is very likely, in my opinion, that this tornado unfortunately did, at the very least, impact the northeast side of Dodgeville. They have just now actually continued the tornado warning for Arena, Wisconsin, with the particularly dangerous situation tag. Again, if you are out here in Arena, Wisconsin, you've got to be seeking shelter immediately. This is a very clear, likely still significant tornado ongoing here. Again, we don't see a debris signature, but there's not a lot to pick up out here. Again, unfortunately, if this is on the ground, it's likely impacting a couple of structures right now. And again, this is going to go dangerously close to the town of Arena. It looks like it could go just slightly off to the east, but again, originally it looks like it was going to go west. So everybody in Arena, and even as far east as I would say as Mazomanie, Wisconsin, make sure you are seeking shelter immediately. That is a weird town name. But again, significant tornado ongoing. Mazomanie. I'm usually pretty decent with pronouncing town names. I don't. That's a new one. Mazomanie. Anyway, again, still a strong and, again, potentially large tornado on the ground approaching Arena and Mazomanie. I'm just going to call it M-Town. Again, you can kind of see that donut hole presentation appearing on the reflectivity values, which isn't necessarily a sign of anything other than the inflow intensifying further. Tornado warning continues for Lime Ridge, Wisconsin. Again, that's our far northern storm here with the tornado warning. Circulation's actually decently strong with this one. Your area of rotation is going to be just south of Lime Ridge and west of Hill Point, north of Sandusky, kind of in that area, just north of Highway 154 there. So if you're out there in that area, make sure that you are seeking shelter immediately. Again, you are under a radar-indicated tornado warning. But seriously, I mean, again, this is likely still a tornado on the ground here, approaching Prairie du Sac. But again, the more direct path and in the more immediate future, if this stays on the ground, it's going to go dangerously close to Arena. Again, if this were like, again, at its peak intensity still, we would be extremely concerned. But it looks like this has started at least to kind of dissipate here as this approaches Highway 14. And it's not necessarily super evident as to why. I'm going to be totally honest. I suppose it was a couple of these cell mergers on the backside of the supercell, but it's interesting. Newsphere thunderstorm warning just issued back into portions of Illinois. That's going to be going out for Walnut and areas along I-80 near Princeton. If you're in this area, make sure you are moving indoors immediately. Again, I really do hope that this misses the town of Arena. Again, we still have a very clear, strong, and tight velocity signature there from the Davenport radar. Now, this could mean one of two things. It could mean that the rotation is much stronger higher up in the atmosphere, and it's not super intense at the surface, or it could just mean that the Milwaukee radar is getting these radar velocity scans and they're just very contaminated, and it's not showing the true intensity of this area of rotation. Either way, if you are in Arena, or east of Arena, we need you to seek shelter now. Rotation continuing to intensify with our storm approaching Monticello. If you're in Monticello, seek shelter immediately. You're going to be under a tornado warning within the next 5 minutes. But again, I think that's first voice crack of the day. Arena, you need to be in your safe spot. Again, Davenport radar still has very intense velocities on this, which again, it could just be because this is much higher up in the atmosphere. But again, I would not take my chances. If I'm in Arena, I am running to my safe spot. Again, this is an imminent threat for Arena. Within the next 5 or 10 minutes, you're right here. So, again, if you're just now tuning in, strong tornado approaching the town of Arena, Wisconsin, along Highway 14, just west of Mazomanie. Um, and then just west of Black Earth. Again, this is likely still an ongoing tornado here. And there we go. They just extended our PDS tornado warning now. Again, this is a strong and potentially intense tornado now as this approaches the towns of Mazomanie, Black Earth, and Prairie du Sac. If you're out here in this area, you need to run, do not walk to your safe spot. This is a particularly dangerous situation, tornado warning. Apparently there was another confirmation of this tornado as it was north of Barnveld. Barnveld is not, like, relatively close to here, which is confusing me. Oh, I guess this could have been a... Yeah, I mean, I guess that is kind of the nearest population center outside of Arena, isn't it? Okay, again, unfortunately, it looks like this tornado is taking a direct impact on the town of Arena, Wisconsin. I mean, this is either extremely close or it is going right through Arena. And I would be willing to bet the latter, unfortunately. Again, we've got to hope. If you know anybody out here in Arena or Prairie du Sac, you've got to let them know what's going on. Again, this is a significant tornado, the likes of which Wisconsin really hasn't seen too many times this year. I mean, this is awful. Again, circulation really intensifying on our storm approaching Monticello. Again, if you are in Monticello, you've got to be seeking shelter immediately. You're going to be under a tornado warning within the next 2 minutes. But, again, if you are in Arena, again, I really do hope that you got underground, you took that warning seriously. Again, at this point, it's kind of too late if you haven't. Again, if you know anybody out here, you have got to let them know what's going on. Again, I know the velocities don't look super intense, but if we look from a separate radar site, the Davenport radar, still very strong rotation. And again, it even does look to be tightening, or at least strengthening up a little bit again there from the Madison-Milwaukee radar. Milwaukee-Sullivan, technically, I think it is. But again, we just have to hope that everybody took that seriously. This, unfortunately, did make a direct impact on the town of Arena, Wisconsin, if it's still on the ground, which it's, unfortunately, extremely likely, in my opinion, that it is. I will note, circulation kind of tightening up on a supercell here approaching Reedsburg. Again, our far northern tornado warning. The storm mode is quite messy up this far north, so we'll see if it does anything, and there we go. There's your brand new tornado warning going out for Monticello and Evansville, as we pointed out. If you're in Evansville, Belleville, Monticello, New Glarus, or Exeter, as well as areas north of Albany, you've got to be seeking shelter immediately at the lowest floor of a sturdy building, away from windows and in an interior room. At this point, guys, I am almost just as concerned about this. I mean, the area of rotation is incredible. Oh, that was a bad one. Incredibly strong. Again, if you are in Monticello, you need to run, do not walk to your safe spot. I would not be shocked if this is an ongoing tornado, and if it is, there's a good chance that it is a strong one. Again, I hope that everybody in Arena got to their safe spot. I mean, at this point, there's nothing else to say. Again, Arena just took a direct impact. The town of Arena, Wisconsin just took a direct impact from a strong to intense tornado. Again, this thing is not stopping as we predicted. I mean, this has been on the ground for almost 40 minutes now. Again, it's just devastating. I mean, this is, again, unfortunately much earlier than we were expecting this to go down as well. I noticed as soon as I woke up, I was like, whoa. Like, you guys have to understand, what we're looking at right now, we were expecting to see at, like, 3 p.m. Like, we're about 2 hours ahead of schedule here. But, again, we have to hope and pray that everybody got to their safe spot up there. Again, very unfortunate situation. And then again, Monticello. I mean, brace for impact in Monticello. Again, this is almost certainly an ongoing tornado. I would be shocked if it's not. Velocities are just so strong with this. We did get a new tornado warning here. No. I don't know why it's sending me old notifications. Alright. Well, again, at this point, the tornado is on just east of Arena, Wisconsin. Again, I'd remain in my safe spot if I'm in Arena just for a few moments longer, just so that we can make sure that this gets out of the way. We don't have a noteworthy debris signature, so that's a good sign. But again, if you look from the Davenport radar, the velocities are extreme. Again, I mean, this is almost certainly still an ongoing significant tornado. Letting know my family is in Sheboygan and the ongoing threat. Sheboygan, that is just north of Chicago, right? Yeah, so, or I guess quite a ways north of Chicago. I don't know why I said that. But Sheboygan is going to be fine here for the next several hours. We will be watching for some significant damaging winds in Sheboygan later today. If we go ahead and take a look at the HRRR's future track here, you'll notice that these thunderstorms kind of move off to the east, potentially north of the Sheboygan area. But again, likely that we're going to end up be watching for some significant damaging wind gusts, some hail around 5 p.m. I would doubt any kind of tornado threat. Storms aren't really going to be discrete or isolated in nature at this point. Also worth noting, if we take a look at your instability values are going to be dipping at this point. So Sheboygan, Wisconsin, I wouldn't necessarily be too concerned about. You are technically in the tornado watch, so be prepared over the next several hours, but I would not be too concerned about that. Yeah, the velocities on the Monticello storm are more impressive than our one that produced our SIG-TOR. Like, not necessarily more impressive than that one at the most impressive point, but at least as of right now. Again, there's no signs that this is actively producing. But man, it is close. Man, is it close. Again, it looks like this could have gone just north of Monticello along Highway 69. But again, Sauk City, Prairie du Sauk, you've got to be seeking shelter. Again, we don't even know if the tornado is still going to be ongoing by the time it gets to you, but it is better to be safe than sorry in a situation like this. There's a very good chance that it is, and again, your instability out here in this area is not going to be stopping anything. Your wind shear's probably not going to be stopping anything. I mean, your shear could be a little bit better, but it's certainly more than what we're seeing with most summertime events. Again, there's not a lot stopping this. This tornado here. Your SRH values are actually quite impressive. If we go ahead and go over to the HRRR and we take a look at storm relative helicity, especially within the first 3. Let's see what we're looking at. I know they're very impressive, though. Not quite as impressive as I thought, but still, you know, we're looking at 200, 250 SRH. Was it the 0 to 1 that I was impressed by? There was something that really impressed me. Yeah, so the 0 to 1 actually still has a very impressive, again, 200, 250, wow. Which, again, I mean, for the 0 to 1, that's kind of crazy high, but that also means that your SRH is confined to the very lower levels of the atmosphere. Again, velocities continue to look intense. Against Sauk City, you've got to run, not walk, to your safe spot. I mean, this is a strong tornado. That's about all there is to say. I mean, again, velocities kind of look to be kind of roping out there on the Davenport radar. But, again, that's just the very higher levels of the atmosphere. I mean, we're looking 100 miles away from radar at that point, so that doesn't really determine anything. Yeah, about 90 miles away. So, again, our velocities on our Monticello storm look to be weakening out. A little cell merger there kind of cut off its inflow. But that could cause problems down the line for areas north of Evansville. So watch out for that. Again, I'm very concerned about areas northeast of Arena. I believe personally that this is still an ongoing tornado. I'd be kind of surprised if it wasn't. Again, I'm aware we don't have any visible debris signature, but you have to keep in mind that we are looking a good 70 miles away from radar. So the fact that we had one at all, even at a point, is kind of concerning. Likely that we're going to see, unfortunately, some significant, potentially even catastrophic damage out of areas north of Dodgeville. Again, I mean, this was a very prolonged tornado. This was not a quitter. Again, look at all that debris. Let's see how high that was up in the atmosphere. We can actually measure that with the radar scope tracking tool. So let's see. We'll go over to the CC. Can't even go back far enough. I have to put this on radar history mode to look at something 20 minutes ago. That is the downside of Omega, or Scope rather. $12.30. Okay. So we're already measuring. Let's see. Yeah, we were already measuring over 7,000 feet into the atmosphere, and again, that was a large debris signature. So very likely that this tornado was lofting debris over 10,000 feet up into the atmosphere. I mean, again, it was intense. I mean, there's no doubting that. Again, we're going to await reports of damage from Dodgeville. Unfortunately, I think it's extremely likely that we're going to see some of those come in here very shortly. Again, large cone tornado. Very large. Again, unfortunately, I can't bring any of these videos up on my stream because they're all copyrighted, but... Again, destructive cone tornado. Very interesting. Again, a lot of our chasers, unfortunately, were not going to go for today. Just because it was too conditional. Storm mode was too conditional, but... velocities continue to stay strong. They're northeast, or northwest, rather, of Mazzamoni. Again, Peru du Sac and Sauk City, I would be, again, in my safe spot. It looks like this is going to go just south of those communities, but it's going to be very close. Again, I kind of iffy whether this is actually on the ground or not at this point. I'm going to say probably not. Again, we're too far away from the Davenport radar to see now, so that's just great. Okay, I haven't even looked from the La Crosse radar this entire time. Vincent was saying there were two radars that you could see a debris signature from. I don't know. He said other radar. I don't know which one he was talking about. He's talking about this. Yep. Okay. And again, that radar is quite a ways away. I mean, that's... Wow. So we're looking... Yeah, again, this was probably lofting debris a good 10 to 15,000 feet into the atmosphere, guys. Just based off of scope measuring distance. Yeah, the inflow's kind of been choked off here. Again, this is not a discrete supercell anymore, but it never really was. I mean, again, our storm near Evansville is struggling. Could still see this being a problem down the line. But yeah, I mean, again, not a lot else to say. Awaiting reports of damage. Again, this was a wedge tornado at a point, guys. This was huge. I mean, this thing was massive. And I didn't mean that in like a joking way. I mean, I would not joke about something like that. The preliminary, again, this is not official or anything, but the preliminary rating tool estimates just based off of radar presentation that this tornado will likely receive a low-end EF2 rating. Again, this is not official in any way, shape, or form. It could be much higher, it could be much lower, but according to the unofficial, I don't even remember what this is called, but a lot of you guys have seen this. EF2 114.5 is the estimation. So. But again, this was a wedge tornado. Again, I can't show any of these photos on stream, guys. Yeah, I mean, this thing was circulating like crazy. I mean, the this was one of those situations where it's going to be a tornado that people think is a lot more intense than it actually was just because of how intense the motion was. I mean, it's the exact same situation as what occurred with Lake City. I'm just going to be honest. Obviously, not as intense as Lake City. That's not what I'm saying, but people overestimate the intensity just because of the intense motion. Doesn't necessarily mean anything, in all honesty. Again, velocity's still somewhat tight. We still have a PDS tornado warning, guys, which is kind of surprising. I really figured they'd downgrade this to an observed. But yeah, please don't pre-rate, guys. And there we go, like 2 minutes after I say it. 2 minutes after I say it. Observed. So, no, you're good. Again, I was really debating whether I should even bring that up or not, because I know it kind of puts out a lot of false information. Not necessarily because it is false information, but people spread it as false information, if that makes sense. Again, it looks to me like this is going to go south of Sauk City, but if you're in Sauk City, I'd be taking shelter. The town of Roxbury, Highway 12, oh my goodness, yeah, I mean, Roxbury Creek, this is still a heavily populated area. I mean, this residential area is, like, as dense as most metro, like, residential areas. So. Yeah, that happens every time, especially whenever it's a semi-rain wrap tornado. It wasn't rain wrap the entire time, but again, this was a wedge tornado at a point. I mean, there's no doubting that. I'll send you the photos, Twister. But again, it looks like just barely a wedge tornado there, but definitely a large tornado nonetheless. Um, and again, definitely a wedge. I mean, I'm not disputing that. By definition, it's a wedge. It's weird though. It almost has like the shape of like a huge stovepipe. Again, I can't show the photos on stream, but significant tornado. So again, we got to hope that everybody took that warning seriously. Again, this was much earlier than we were expecting, unfortunately. Again, I mean, this was the velocities indicated that this could have been for a brief couple of scans. I was very worried. I mean, that's all I'm gonna say. The velocities indicated if we had no other radar features, if we had no surface observations, if all we had were these velocities and they maintained it like this intensity, like for these few scans, I would be comfortable with saying this was a violent tornado. But yeah, happy birthday, Otter. Was that yesterday or today? Again, I'm not saying it was violent, but again, if we had this was my statement, if we had literally nothing to go on, if we had nothing to go on other than these few velocity scans, I would be comfortable with calling this a violent tornado. Again, that's about whenever I sit up for a stream today. So it's funny because I literally, it's so convenient. This is where I sleep, guys. This is not a joke. This is where I sleep. So, like, all right, the tour warning continues. Still observed. But yeah, I mean, yeah, there's no reason to pre-rate right now. Again, this tornado was on the ground for a good 45 minutes. I mean, this was a significant tornado nonetheless. Just saw a diabolical comment that I cannot bring up on stream. Again, I hope by a miracle this somehow missed Dodgeville and Arena, but I doubt it. So, wow. I mean, again, very photogenic tornado, but all right. So, again, if you're just now tuning in, we just had a significant tornado impact both the towns of Dodgeville and Arena, Wisconsin. Again, velocities indicate that this was a very strong tornado. Again, there's video of it. It was a wedge. Again, a destructive tornado. Unfortunately, again, it has occluded since, but we still do have a tornado warning in effect here for Prairie du Sac, or Prairie du Sac, however you pronounce that, but rotation very quickly broadening out. And then we still have a tornado warning in effect for the town of Evansville, Wisconsin as well. I doubt this does anything, honestly. Again, not a discrete storm mode, basically just QLCS rotation at this point. At one point, though, this was a very concerning supercell. I mean, we had a very intense velocity couplet. So, um, again, outside of that, a couple of... Oh, that was a bad one. A couple of severe thunderstorm warnings going out for our QLCS that's developing back into parts of northern Illinois. But I mean, there's not a lot else to talk about right now. Very localized event for sure. We did actually have a tornado in southern Indiana today. It was very, very brief, but did technically touch down very, very briefly. Like this was on the ground for maybe 30 seconds. Velocities were very broad, but weak, brief little gustnado there southwest of New Farmington. But velocity's kind of strengthening again as they approach Sauk City. Again, this is going to go right through the south side of Sauk City. Again, if you're in this area, you need to remain in your safe spot. See you, Sam. But again, unfortunately, without a doubt, very strong tornado. Definitely hit a couple of structures at the very least, which is not something that we want to see, obviously. I'm a little concerned. Like, what is this? Like, what? Well, I don't think it's a debris signature, but... See, it's unfortunate that the rotation got quite a bit more intense again right as it moves over Sauk City. Alright, we're gonna time you out, Wyatt, because you're kind of being a little bit of a pain. Alright, anyway. Again, we're going to keep watching this just because I am a little bit concerned that velocities are still somewhat strong. And again, this went right through Sauk City if it's still on the ground, which I'm not saying it is. I really don't think it is, but it could... Oh, another bad one. It could be. It could be. So, again, we'll see. I mean... Again, we're waiting for any sort of damage report or video or anything to come out on social media from Dodgeville or Arena. I suppose the fact that there's not could, ugh, my gosh, could be considered a good thing. Yeah, there's video of this. It was on the ground on the northeast side of Dodgeville. Very unfortunate. I gotta stop pointing them out. See, but people make fun of me when I don't, so it's kind of a catch-22 situation where if I don't, people are gonna say something about them and point them out, and if I do, people are gonna be like, stop talking about them. Like, I can't win. Again, unfortunately, if this is still on the ground, again, I don't think it is, but if it were, it would be going right through Sauk City and Prairie du Sauk. Alright, new severe thunderstorm warning for Rochelle and Hillcrest. This is including the I-88, I-39 intersection in northern Illinois. This is for damaging winds up to 60 miles an hour, nickel-sized hail. If you're out here in this area, make sure you're getting indoors immediately. They did just issue a brand new observed tornado warning. Supposedly, this is still a tornado on the ground. County Road Y, Wisconsin. I'm trying to find any. I guess there's going to be a ton of them, yeah. Okay, what was the other location? Highway 78. So that, yeah, I mean, that was just a few minutes ago, guys. There's County Road Z. Is it this? I mean, that wouldn't make any sense. Well, supposedly we still have oh, it's right here. Yeah, I mean, we still have an ongoing tornado, and this went, yep, this went right through Sauk City, and that is a debris signature. Dang it. Well, tornado on the ground in Sauk City in Prairie du Sauk, Wisconsin. This is another tornado on the ground. Again, this is potentially a large tornado. Evident debris signature. Reportedly on the ground still as it moves off to the east-northeast towards the I-3990 and Lodi as well as Lake Wisconsin. This is still a semi-discrete supercell in a way, so we'll continue to watch this as it moves off towards the east-northeast. But if I'm along Highway 60, just northeast of Prairie du Sauk, I'm getting either underground into my storm shelter or on the lowest floor of a sturdy building, away from windows and in an interior room. Velocities look to be broadening out, though. But again, at the very least, we had a tornado on the ground in Sauk City, which is quite unfortunate. It's been one supercell today that has been causing all of our problems. Again, it looks like we've still got a little bit of debris there on the correlation coefficient, potentially. What is the La Crosse radar? Still potentially have some debris associated with that. So, weak uncondensed tornado northeast of Mesamoni. That's quite a ways back, though. Or, I suppose not, actually. So, yeah, I don't think it was all one tornado. I think it was definitely two separate. I think it occluded for quite a while over the Highway 14 area. I don't know, though. Either way, again, definitely a very long tracking tornado. How's it looking for Mount Prospect, Illinois today? Let's check it out. Mount Prospect. So Mount Prospect is kind of right northwest of Chicago Metro. We'll mainly be looking out for some damaging wind gusts, and that would likely be around 4 p.m. or so, 4 or 5 p.m. If we take a look at the HRRR future track model here, We can go ahead and take a look at the composite reflectivity. You're going to note that those thunderstorms kind of roll throughout, again, around 3 or 4 p.m. there, Central Time. Again, some heavy rain, some damaging wind gusts, no tornado threat. So, no problem. Thank you for tuning in. Again, if you are new here, make sure to like and subscribe. We do this every day for areas all across the country, whether it's severe weather, winter storms, or hurricanes. We've got you covered. And again, we just had a significant tornado, unfortunately impact the towns of Dodgeville and Arena, Wisconsin. A wedge tornado, very large. And then another tornado impact the town of Sauk City and Prairie du Sauk, unfortunately. Again, thinking about maybe doing a local chase here this evening with my boy. We'll see if that works out. I don't know if he has to work or not, but anyway, rotation is definitely broadened out. I would not be too concerned about this in the near future. I don't think it has too much of a potential to recycle this time, unlike last time. I could be wrong, though. By the way, a lot of people have wanted me to point this out, so we'll go ahead and do it. I brought it up on stream, but apparently a lot of people didn't see it. We had a fire tornado in Utah rated at EF2 intensity. This was this was the second Utah EF2 plus tornado since 2002. This is the strongest tornado in this county's history, and it was associated with a fire updraft. If you're not aware, wildfires can actually spawn tornadoes. They've got rotating updrafts. Kind of note that it says fire-induced tornado there. If we take a look at the damage, again, this was the EF2 122 DI. I still don't understand how this is an EF2 DI, but a lot of roof damage. I would have personally rated it EF1, but yeah, I mean, that is definitely not something that you see every day, every week, every month, or even every year. For sure. So, anyway. Yeah, rotation on the Evansville storm has definitely broadened out. And so I saw you just like my tweet. You don't have to fill out the application. You can if you want to. It'd be kind of funny. You can fill it out and answer it with stupid questions or something if you want, but you filled it out. You can fill it out, Otter, if you want to play. Yeah, yeah. We are looking for new players. Like seriously, I'm kind of sick of having 5 players every season. Again, you don't have to understand a whole lot. Again, we are looking. No, you don't have to fill it out, Mr. Twister. Again, we just want people to fill it out that haven't played in one of them before. Which I guess technically you haven't, but you know. I want to see Vincent's responses. I was gonna bring it up on stream, but my friend was filling out a bunch of forms inappropriately last night. I know you're gonna be able to see that. Let's see. Let's go to Google Forms. Google Forms. Docs.google. Why does it say no responses? My friend literally filled out like 18 last night. Okay. Entitled form. Open a new window. Oh, there we go. How long have you played Minecraft? Okay. So which one? Okay, I see Vincent. Oh, Dakota filled it out too. Vincent says 1 year. One. Uh, Vincent, Mr. Storm YT. All right. I'm a storm chaser. I am also a good Minecraft player. If you want to fill it out, you can. I'm not gonna stop you. You can fill it out and be like funny if you want. I can't bring it up because Caden put a bunch of inappropriate stuff, and also your phone number's on there. I'll show you later. He filled out a bunch of not very nice stuff. If you want to, Vincent, that'd be fun. So, again, the tornado was reported to have been on the ground south of Sauk City again. Again, likely occluded at this point. Velocities have definitely broadened out quite a ways. Bro, I'm telling you, we're doing a local chase tonight. Maybe. Oh, I just realized I can't tonight. Dang it. Would have been so fun. And this would have been a decent day to go. You just woke up. What happened? We had a huge wedge tornado in Wisconsin. And then the same supercell velocities kind of broadened out, recycled, produced another tornado in a large town, then occluded again. But long story short, huge tornado impacted the town of Dodgeville, Wisconsin, and then as well as Reno, Wisconsin. All right. Oh, we got some more responses. Who is Rizzler of Gyatmas? Like what? I've played Minecraft for 6 years off and on. My PvP skills are a 6 or a 7. Bro, everybody just answered stupidly for the. Hold on. Well, I am going to bring this up. Like, oh. I don't know if there's anything. Yeah, that's what did not want to show. Caden was filling him out stupidly. Why did my mouse disappear? Alright. Again, at this point, I don't think we're going to be here for too much longer. Levi! Somebody's 4 years old. Nice. Vincent is chopped in fat. What? I don't know who filled it out like trolling, but somebody did. I don't know. I can't see like the. Let's see. Yeah, we're gonna limit everybody to one response so that we can get serious people that actually want to play. Okay, I know that Levi filled this one out. Or no, this was Vincent. I put require email on so people can't, so that I know who everybody is. See, this is why we can't have nice things. I like otters. Wait, y'all can see responses? Are you serious? Did I put the wrong link? How can y'all see responses? Bro. Okay. Let's change that. Responses. Here we go. Form defaults? What? Well, I don't know how to change that, so that's just great. Print all responses. This is just incredible. When is this server gonna start? We don't know yet. I'm gonna be totally honest. I saw your app. Let's look at it again. Is there something I missed? I don't have social media. Sandrew Sam. How long have you played Minecraft for how old Vincent is? Why are responses public? Like, why can y'all see that? don't know how to change that either. Again, this is why we can't have nice things. Ever. Why did this kid send me something? I saw that, Vince. Anyway, chat. I think that's probably going to do it for this stream. I need to get some lunch. So, I think we're going to end things off here. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe. Again, we'll update you guys on the community tab with more reports and photos of damage. But yeah, that's about it. So thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace.